So a man thinketh, he is. What's up, guys? Welcome to today's topic. Yeah, let's get into it. This is a fucking long ass week, man. Long fucking week. One thing, man. The most important thing as a person, I was gonna say as a man, but just as a person in general, your thoughts can either build you up or destroy you. And that's why I pull up this Bible verse. It says, "For as he thinketh in his heart, so he is." So is he. Let me rephrase that. Now, so many times we make an unfair judgment within ourselves and label ourselves as the unfair judgment just because of one problem that we have within the self. And now remember, when you have a problem with yourself, it is over exaggerated because you're seeing yourself every second of the day. So you're more harsh on yourself than you would be to someone else. I guarantee if someone has the same problem that you have, you would be so gentle, kind, forgiving, and loving to them. But since it's you feel like you could shit on yourself, which actually should be the exact opposite. Because within the mind, it's where everything starts. And you have to remember, if you think you're a loser, you're going to become a loser because you're building off of a negative. That's all it means when it says, "So a man thinketh he is," because whatever you think about yourself, that's what you believe in, and whatever you believe in, you do it with your heart. That's why faith is so important, because you believe in your faith and you do it with your heart. That's why people die for their faith. If you think you're an idiot, you're going to die for being dumb. So you have to remember that whatever that inner dialogue is going on in your head, because, dude, so much people let that inner dialogue go on for too long. When you have the constant, "I hate you, you're a piece of shit, I love you, I want to be there for you" dialogue going on, and you're the middleman, you have the good and the evil on your shoulder, and when you consistently associate yourself with both of them, that's when you forget everything about yourself, and that's when you become numb. You literally become numb. You let your thoughts consume you, and you become half of who you are. And you have to remember that you are not your thoughts. Just because you think it or feel it doesn't mean that's you. And guys, it's okay to separate your intrusive thoughts. Let's say you're praying and you have a thought that says, "God isn't real, God sucks." Instead of being like, "Oh my God, like, I'm a fucking scumbag." No, you say, "Okay, the intrusive thoughts are winning today. They felt like they won right now, but it's not me," and you separate yourself from the thought. And dude, you have to love yourself. Love isn't easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it, but it's not easy. That's why everyone hates their enemy. Not many people do what Jesus told us to do, is to love your enemy. It hurts. It hurts a lot. Love isn't fun and games, bro. It's part of love is grieving. Part of love is sadness. Love isn't all just joy. But you have to find a way to love through all this trauma and fear and anger, because I'm telling you, if you let your trauma consume you, you're never going to live. You're always going to live in the past. And if you're always living in the past, you're always going to be living in the worst version of yourself. And why are people always so depressed? Because they're the worst version of themselves. If you, like the verse says, "For as he think in his heart, so he is." And if you have this constant belief about yourself that isn't true, you're going to be living a lie, and you're never going to fulfill out your duties that you really want to do. Let's just say you were born to be a landscaper, right? I'm a landscaper, so let's say you were born to be a landscaper, but your family owns a paint business, and you get into the paint business, and you keep telling yourself, I'm supposed to be a painter, I'm supposed to be a painter. You will become a painter. You will become that painter, but you're going to be the most depressed painter in the world. And you're going to be the painter. They're going to be like, dude, I don't even know why he works here. If you hate your job so much, just quit. If you tell yourself something enough, you will start to believe it, especially the lies that we feed ourselves. Especially the fears, anxieties, and lies that we feed ourselves. It's no good. No bueno. All of these anxieties will literally torment you. That's why there's so many men who couldn't do it. There's so many men and women, God bless them, but they took their own life because their thoughts consumed them. The only way to beat the negativity is with love, as headass as that sounds. It's so true. The only way you're going to be more loving for yourself is if you become more kind and compassionate within the self. But guys, remember, life starts when you start helping other people. So if you're constantly putting yourself first and leaving other people dry, you're never going to find true peace. The only time I was at true peace is when I realized what I'm doing is helping people. That's kind of been one of the only things that ever brought me so far, is helping people. I never thought I would be able to be where I'm at without helping people. If I didn't help anyone, I wouldn't like this life, I'll be honest with you. And guys, also, by the way, I'm not high. I'm just fucking exhausted. I'm just fucking exhausted. But yeah, like I was saying, when I was the most depressed, it's when I was the most neglectful, and I really, really thought circumstance was something else, and I was really trying to tell myself, yeah, this is love, this is what it really is. But I was falling apart. And once I stopped believing the lies that I was telling myself, I stood on my feet and I said, yeah, no, I'm done with this. Everything changed. And just because everything changes in a different way that let's just say you want it to be one way, but it was a different way, it doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means that, okay, it's time for a redirection. And dude, your thoughts will destroy you if you let it. The mature man always overthinks a lot and lets the anxiety consume him. That's why 9 times out of 10 all these philosophers and poets are really depressed, because they don't know how to weigh. They don't know a way to. This is the sad truth. A lot of men like depression because it gives them motivation. They wouldn't be who they were without it. So they force themselves to be down in the dumps. A lot of these poets that you see, they're so wise, but for some reason they drown in their depression. Don't be a depressed poet. If you're going through a hard time, okay, it makes sense. But when you have the chance to snap out of it, snap out of it. Don't just be depressed because you profit something out of it. Because I'm telling you, when your time is up, I like to think of it like this. When your time is up and your life flashes before your eyes, let's just say, instead of life playing the best moments, it replays your whole life. Half of your life you're on your phone, sitting in your room when you could be outside with your family. Stop thinking that depression is a cool aesthetic. Get the fuck out of your bed. Go take a shower. Really, for real. But like I said, the only way a man can be who he really needs to be, it starts within the mind. It starts with self-belief. If you want to become the man who you need to be, It always starts with manifestation within the mind, imagination. You can't be who you need to be without it starting in the mind. Because so a man thinketh he is. So whatever you think, it's literally saying whatever you think about, you will become. If you want to build off a negative, you will get negative. If you want to build off a positive, you'll become positive. But dude, it always starts in the mind, and don't let the mind trick you. The mind is the most complex thing in the solar system. Nothing will be more complex than your mind. But your maker, the God who made you, is more complex than it. The Christ within you is more complex than it. And dude, remember that. Who am I? If you take everything away, the only thing they cannot take away from a human soul is love. Because we're made out of love. So if you lose everything, remember you are love. And remember, like I said, love isn't easy. Love isn't beautiful all the time. Sometimes love is pain, hurt. Sometimes it's suffering, really. Because when you lose a loved one, you suffer. That's the cost of love. But yeah, guys, if you really want to be the man that you know you need to be, it starts within the mind. And self-belief, dude. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to believe that God sent you here for a reason. You have to believe in Christ. And you have to practice what you believe in. You really have to practice it. Because if you just believe, it's not enough. You need to practice what you believe in, because that's when you see results. You don't see results when you believe. You see results when you practice. Trust me. You could think about training all day, but until you start training, that's when the results are made. Man. Life is crazy, guys. Jesus is king. Yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed this little yap. Philosopher Danshu. But yeah, guys, I will see you in the next video.